Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. We have Trampis. And, you know, Trampis is like becoming a
household name.
Yeah, like we talk just multiple references. So we've had Trampis on before. Joe's here. What's up, Joe? Joe?
Hey,
yeah,
I just kind of butted myself.
Sorry, yeah, I jumped. I got excited, but I feel like Trampis needs a little introduction. But Trampis, if you do want to introduce yourself, so you've been on before, but a couple new listeners, people maybe haven't caught up all the episodes. So give us a quick intro, man. Then we're going to jump into what's new, maybe talk about the Spartan race and life in general.
Sure. Trampis. Like I said, I think I said last time, the name's as weird as it sounds. Live in South Carolina, somewhere near Greenville, closer to Clemson. That still doesn't usually help anyone with where I'm at, but
helps me.
I just know there's lakes around.
Yeah, there are lakes, a lot of lakes. But I work for a general contractor, and I really like working out in my garage.
Perfect. What else do we need to know?
I got a small family, wife, a couple kids.
Living the dream life.
It's actually not as exciting as you may think. It's pretty average.
So that's why you like to drag people to OCRs.
Yeah.
Is that what I did?
That was my next point of like, if you've been listening to the podcast, I'm talking to the listener now. If you've been listening to it for a while, we were mentioning how the whole Spartan race was not my fault. And if you heard, maybe you forgot the name that I mentioned, it was Tramp's fault. There was a Kyle was thrown in there too. Like it really had to disseminate all the way. But the reason Joe is sitting like a lame duck right now with a injured hamstring, this is the man who
all started with you.
I did it. I think what happened was we did Asheville. I actually then said I'm never doing another race like that. And then like 5 days later, I think Kyle Hazekamp and Kyle Schrum and I were still texting. And no, that was actually the second Asheville trip. And then I did my the other Beast last year. It went fine. So I knew that I was going to do it again. Kyle wanted to do the second Asheville trip again to, reclaim his glory from getting hurt the first time. And it just sort of snowballed from there. And I think I did sign up first. I definitely signed up for the age group session, which was not a hit for a large group.
I think it worked out.
I think it worked out fine. Joe was a little, I don't know if pissy is the right word, but he was a little upset with me. He didn't want to look at me. He didn't want to talk to me at the beginning of the race.
Nope. I didn't even join today.
Yeah, that's all right. So, dude, are you getting a workout in right now?
Yeah. Timer over?
No. Well, I think I actually did. I worked out before this because it's like 40 degrees.
Siri's telling you didn't go hard enough.
I wanted to be warm, and I don't know what's going on with my watch. Okay.
So I do want to talk about that. So Trampis, you did the Asheville Spartan with us, which was rough. And then you crushed this last one when we did the Beast. It was of no consequence for you. So tell me about the gap there, man. What did you have to close up? Because I mean that's a little over a year, I guess, but I mean significant improvement. How'd you do it?
I mean, I'm definitely in better shape now, just from training an extra year. But really, a lot of it was just eating appropriately and making sure. There were just certain parts where like during the first one, I could not go any further without taking a break. And I got at the top of some hills, and luckily Cindy was with me, and she kept dragging me through there. But really, it was learning that, oh, I need to eat during these things. And I'd eaten a good bit before that, but for something that's going to last, 5 hours, just a big breakfast isn't going to do it. You need more than that. So that literally was the main thing. And
that one got us all, because no one expected it to be. I don't know why. I still don't know why that race was as long as it was, but it was. And so we all were suffering.
It took us just as long to do 15 miles
as 9. Yeah,
it really did. Of course, it's a lot flatter, and I guess Tryon than it is in Asheville, but they got creative, as we all found out, with elevation.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. Travis, I found it.
Yeah. We were crossing the last hill, and Joe's like, "There's still like 600 feet of elevation somewhere." And I get to the hill and look down. I was like, "Oh, Joe, it's right here." That was awful.
So you figured out how to fuel, man. And so what is it? Just eating the gel packs enough? Is that what did it for you?
Yeah, I think I brought. Let's see, the next Beast I did, I brought some Noon tablets, which helped, I believe. I would just sort of chew on them, which I've got a little bit of grief for just chewing on Noon tablets from Tony Allen, of all people.
It's kind of weird, but whatever works.
Yeah, there are other ways to do it though. Just make sure you get your electrolytes in during that.
What's wrong with? Because they're supposed to fizz up, right?
Yeah,
they're super tart. They're super tart.
Like eating an Airborne. You're just like crunching on that. Yeah, dude, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Effective though.
Yeah, it worked. It got me through. I think I do better in colder races as well. Just the heat sucks it out of me. This was plenty cold, so I didn't have any issues there. But it was just a lot of staying on top of it too. Not thinking, okay, well, I'm doing good right now. I'll just wait a little bit longer. It got around to 45 minutes to an hour, and I ate whether I felt like I needed to or not. And the gel packs and the little Cliff blocks. That essentially was all I did, and it made a big difference.
So what's the next event?
So I've actually went ahead of all things. Went ahead and got a trifecta pass. So I'm doing 3. I know.
In 2020.
Yeah, in 2020. I'm going to do a short one. It's in Georgia. It's a little sprint. I think I'm going to take my kid to that one too. It'll be his first the kids race. So, and he's seen videos, he's seen pictures of us, and he saw. I think I showed him the videos of your boys doing it. I was like, "Hey, do you think that'd be fun?" He said, "Yeah, I want to do that." So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We're gonna do that. I'll probably do Asheville again because it's sort of the thing. Somebody was twisting my arm about a bike race, but I don't see it happening in 2020.
I was trying to get you there.
Well, it's funny. It's like, and then I know my wife's going to hear this. You're going to roll her eyes immediately. But like, I look for bikes, like, and I was trying to work that into some sort of Christmas present, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
It's out there for you or anyone else listening.
Yeah.
For some reason, I have not been able to convince a Garage Gym athlete. So we're talking to Greg later today. I mean, he lives like right next to me, and he's like a triathlete. I don't know why. He'll probably do it with me next year.
I'd be on it if I lived like Texas area, which I know that's a giant, but
it's kind of large. Yeah,
even Dallas is just a giant area.
I'd probably do it. But that would be just completely changing up everything. You've cycled the whole year for that race. I'm not going to do it like you with nanos and a fixed
that was
steel frame
just the
bike.
first time. That was just the first time.
I'm not doing that. I would want to train for it appropriately. So I would actually get a bike. I would probably do it right. And it's just not in the cards. But probably going to do Asheville. And honestly, I wasn't going to do this North Carolina Beast again, but there isn't another one like around me. Like,
so you're going to do the triathlon one again?
I'm probably going to do it again, like a moron. So
oof. I might be at the Asheville one just because I like Asheville and it's only 9 miles, and I don't know if I'll be back at Tryon. I don't know.
Well, I most definitely will not be.
Yeah, we couldn't. Well, you have other reasons. You won't.
Yeah,
you won't even be in the United States.
Yeah. What an unfortunate circumstance, huh?
Yeah. I did find a different company OCR called Grit OCR that there's one in SoCal in February that looks cool, but we'll see. I need to be healed.
Yeah, get that hamstring going.
All right, Trampis, I want to get some perspective for you, man. You're a longtime garage gym athlete now. I'd just love to hear your perspective on garage gym athlete, favorite parts, doesn't have to be super in depth. I just love to get it from your side.
Favorite part's easy. I mean, yeah, we all sort of do the same thing, but the community that you have built on Facebook, I'm part of some other garage gym athlete groups, and there's really nothing like our group. We're all going through the same thing. We all pretty much use minimal equipment. That's one of the other things that kind of just, like, you see some of these garages and they take over the entire thing with
leg presses and
right. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. There's definitely other vices that you could have that are worse than filling your garage with gym equipment. I just don't know that it's, if not for us, I know, but it's not necessary. Like, you can get, and I was telling you this the other day, Jared, like, I've been amazed at how minimal your gym is and the level of fitness that you've maintained since, it's amazing. And of course, if anyone listened to the podcast, I guess it was Monday, you're got a big upgrade coming up. So
what's funny? So
that's why I was just snickering.
We should talk about this upgrade because I think a lot of people. It's funny what Rogue. I ordered like 2 things from Rogue, and they send it to me in 13 different boxes. And I was even confused when I got the shipment notification. Rogue was like, it gave me 13 different tracking numbers. I was like, "What are you doing? Like, what is all this stuff?" So I did not go that crazy. What I'm actually doing in my gym is I laid down flooring throughout the entire space, which I talked to an athlete about this previously. That's really expensive. I didn't see that coming. For some reason, I didn't calculate it out. That was really expensive. But then I'm basically getting a new rack and some storage options. That's really it. It's not I'm still super minimal. Still super minimal. Like, I'm not getting a bunch of crazy junk because I just want more space for activities.
Spread your wings.
Yeah. I want to be able to move around and not nick my drywall if I hit a clean wrong. So I just need more space. I don't need more giant piece of equipment. I already have the biggest piece of equipment you can get.
I gave you a hard time. Yeah, I guess you got that Rhino or the
reverse hyper. Yeah.
Reverse hyper thing. Yeah, I gave you a hard time. I saw those packages. I was like, that's just a rack. Like, I know that's how they ship those things. But it looks like a whole new gym, which is funny.
Yeah, it's but yeah, man, the minimal equipment thing, that's a big thing amongst our community. I mean, some people are getting by with really bare bones stuff,
Yeah. So, and I think it's great. I mean, for you to be able to, you don't need a rower, you don't need an Airdyne. You really just need to be able to run and lift some weights and maybe a couple kettlebells, and you could be very effective with the program that you put out. I mean, that's
Dominic's still using milk jugs and stuff.
Yeah, Dominic has a standard barbell set and milk jugs. I'm pretty sure.
And he built the wood racks with the cement base.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's as fit as almost anyone I know. I mean, I think he has a 19-minute 5K or something. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Dude's fast.
And he's not weak. He's not weak either. He's not just the 5K guy. So
you've been a garage gym athlete, not just in our programming, but working out in your garage gym athlete for a while too. What would you say you've learned as far as sticking to things, the hard parts, all that stuff? What have you learned over the time frame you have been working out in your garage?
Yeah, sticking to things, that's the main thing. I mean, being consistent in a program is what you actually see results from. And it being in my garage is that's just even easier to be consistent for one. But I'm also able to set it up that makes me more likely to do it. I have so much respect for people that have to put up their garage, like put up their gym every night or every day when they get done. I don't know that I would be as consistent or stick to it as much if I had to unload and reload my gym every day. So
you mean like pulling everything out and then putting it
all
back?
Like the guys that have like 1-car garages or they have to park in their garage and they don't have an extra space. You know, I think you do it for hail damage or something like that.
Yeah.
But the people that literally pull down a rower each time and then they unfold their racks and all that. I think being able to set it up the way I've got it, that's definitely helped me stick to it. I know a while back, I think it was right when y'all were starting the newer version of the podcast, y'all were talking about y'all's why and how it's changed. You know, 2 years ago when I really decided to do this, it would have been, well, I want to get fitter. That's one reason. Why do you want to get fitter? Well, you want your kids to grow up and watch you do it. But mine's kind of changed even more to that, where it's just what I do now. Like, I'm just the guy that does this because it makes my life better. My kids will probably pick up on it because they're around it so much. I hope, you know. But I can't really say they're my why anymore to why I stick to it. I feel better when I'm healthy. You know, I feel better when I eat well. I just feel better. I'm able to do more. That's once you get that steam built, once you get that discipline in there, it's, you know, you ask my wife if I'm better to deal with on a day where I got my workout in or if I didn't. I mean, I'm not. So,
that's huge, man. So what, speaking of that, I'd love to know, what do you do when you do miss a workout? What's your next step after the workout is missed?
Oh, I don't go crazy. I don't get upset about it. I do it the next day. I have an opportunity. It doesn't, you know, I average probably 40. And when we were training for the Beast, I was pretty consistent. That was probably the most consistent period of my life, getting ready for the Asheville second time in the Beast. I think I was over 5 workouts a week because I would do smaller, easy cardio workouts. But like right now, if I didn't work out yesterday, that's what I did a minute ago. I just do it the next day, and I just keep going. I don't get upset about it. I don't shut down.
And now you have that. You know, I see this as a recurring theme. I know it's 100% true with me. I mentioned that's a big reason I do the bike race every year, because I can't show up to that like, oh, I didn't prepare for it. And so you have the trifecta thing. And you said you're super consistent leading up to the Beast. Would you say that these events like help you in your consistency?
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily worried about doing an amazing job at the event, but you don't want to go out there and be miserable. So,
right.
The more you do this, the easier, quote unquote, the event is. And I wouldn't even say that I do it because I want to do better at the events. I'm using the events to measure how my fitness has increased. Wow, that Spartan race, this year's Asheville was way easier than last year's Asheville. I've actually been doing something right. So that's sort of the way I've been looking at it, or at least thinking about it lately.
Yeah, that's a good benchmark. And to be honest, I mean, unless it's like a mile on a quarter-mile track, I think it's hard to compare benchmarks in a Beast because they could change the course, the weather could be different, like just everything could be different. So like your recovery and how you feel during, I think is a huge benchmark in those types of events.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, man. Let's see if this answer's changed. What's the hardest workout you've ever done?
The most miserable I've felt was still during that Asheville Spartan race. That was it. But you know, when you think about those, sometimes a PR 2K row can be literally the worst you've ever felt. And it's 6.5, 7 minutes for some people. I think I'm at 7:30 now. So
I just got like goosebumps you mentioning a 2K row.
Right.
That's how my body responds to it.
And that should be your measuring stick. I mean, like when you see that coming up, what are you likely to skip next week? I'm probably more likely to skip that 2K row than anything else on there.
Right.
So, and it's 6.5 minutes, like, or 7 minutes, or I'm not that fast. 7.5 minutes of your life. So, maybe a 2K row. We'll switch it up,
dude. I could just always that event. I've mentioned it so many times on the podcast, but I hate it so much. Like, I could probably, and I don't know why it hurts so bad. Like running, it's not possible to get the same feeling running. I mean, maybe if you're doing like sprint over and over, like repeats, but like I could probably
I think it has to be uphill.
Yeah, maybe uphill. for like 4 or 5 minutes straight would be comparable in running, because I could go 5 minutes flat on a mile, which would be really hard for me. You know, maybe if I could ever achieve sub 5, which is like a lifetime goal of mine, it still wouldn't hurt how a 2K row hurts. You know, it's just a completely different experience.
When I get done with a 2K row, and I think I've heard this, you don't get off the rower, you fall off the rower, and you go to your back, like that, or fetal position, whichever makes you feel better. When I get done with a PR mile, I'm winded, obviously. I go down maybe to, like a squat position for whatever reason, but I don't get on my back. I'm not dying. I don't feel like I'm dying. A 2K row just does that. So that's, yeah.
All right, man. Has this answer changed? What's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Yeah, you touched on it too. I like signing up for something just to help me stoke that fire and just keep the discipline in. I mean, you can do anything under the sun to boost your mental toughness. I like cold showers, Joe. I like, a lot of things that I like are what people do for mental toughness. I think it's just signing up for something, putting yourself out there so that you're not forced, but you're much more motivated. I don't even like the word motivated, but much more inclined to get after it and get something done. So, and
that really increases that consistency. I was just thinking as you're talking about that, like that's a big reason why this, whatever last cycle, I guess it was, we introduced that killing comfort patch for consistency across a cycle, because I never want to like stop doing the PR shirts. Like I think that that's a really cool thing for our athletes to achieve, just because, people, if you stick to the programming, you're going to set PRs, but that's just not the only thing I want to celebrate. And like, how long could you really do that? Like you can't PR everything forever. And so I think that killing comfort, the consistency is what I'd like to celebrate more in the future and moving forward. And then even these are some kind of behind the scenes things, but things we want to do with that patch moving forward, the more consistent you are. But I think that's a really big deal. And if signing up for an event, that pushes you is going to make you more consistent and build your mental toughness, I think that's like the lead domino that's going to really like push you forward. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. One piece of equipment. What's it going to be rest of your life?
I think I said barbell and plates, and I'm probably going to stick with barbell and plates because I could do indoor with barbell plates and running and get to a pretty effective level. So
yeah, really effective.
Yeah.
What's something you want to add to your gym? What's on that list?
Honestly, I mean, I have what I need. There's all these memes about whether your gym's done or not. Everyone gave me crap because I said land, and that's not a piece of equipment.
I thought that was the best answer. Wow.
I think it's the best answer too. I still need it. As well. So if anyone has like a 30-acre parcel they're getting rid of in the Greenville area, let me know. But yeah, I have a rower. I might get just a regular bike. A bike.
There we go.
I can do a 100 in a couple years.
2021. That's setting it on the horizon there.
My second eye roll for my wife. Continue.
All right, man. What is the just so you know, if you could find like a trainer bike, you can get them on Amazon for like $100. You can get that steel framed bike. Now, you don't want to ride the bike on a steel framed bike, but it would be a great trainer bike because you're training much harder than you have to. It'd be like running with a vest all the time. Then you come to Dallas, we'll rent you a bike like I did that one year. That's like $50. That's, or less. It's like $30 or something like that. Mm-hmm. You're done. You ride the race. I'm just saying there are ways
There are ways. Yeah, no, I'm sure there are.
All right. All right, man. What's the best advice you have for all the garage gym athletes out there listening?
I think last time I said get a plan and stick to it, and that's the same. I think since last time, I've done and this isn't a pat on my back thing. I did that the coach insert, and I've learned so much more about it, about myself. I probably learned more about myself than I'll probably ever help anyone get to with their own thing, just as a coach. But definitely pick something and stick to it that you're going to stick to. Garage gym athlete is probably the best one to do, though. I mean, it's just, I don't know, and I follow other people and I see what they're doing, and I don't know that anyone spends the time that you and Joe and all the guys and Ashley, of course, spend on what y'all do. So, shameless plug for y'all.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I do think that we try and stick out in our own ways, and programming is one of them, and how much time, effort, and energy goes into that. If I were to actually time out how long and I'm a very efficient programmer, but how long it takes me from like, okay, I'm writing a new cycle from start to finish, the hours that goes behind that, like any random workout you're pulling something from, or like whatever, like, I just don't think it's happening anywhere else. Because one, I don't think anybody else has the time. And if you're interested in doing this stuff yourself, that's cool too. But I guarantee how much thought you're putting into your workout is not as much as it could be, and that's another thing. You took the coaching course, and now, one of the things, we have 3 things that we want in our company. It's build better humans, autonomous athletes, and unequivocal coaches. And so you're kind of on the fence of those last 2. You're building yourself into a better human. But now you're probably an autonomous athlete. Like, enough to where you could do all this stuff for yourself, but you don't have to. Like, I always say the changing the oil thing. Like, yeah, I could change my own oil. I 100% know how to do that, but I don't change my own oil most of the time, just because of the time savings I get going somewhere else and having someone else do that.
Well, there's time savings, but also, like, what is it that I hate? Like a
Star planks?
Star planks. I will never program star planks. I will never program a star plank for myself. I will not do it. I mean, I say that a little bit tongue in cheek, but if you're programming for yourself, most people are gonna have a bias for what they either like to do or something they're training for, and then that probably means they like to do it. So it takes that out of the equation. And I know that a lot of people worry about, why would I pay for it? There's so many free programs. There are so many free programs. What do you do when you get done with that free program? Like, are you going to do it again? Are you just going to try to build on top of that? Or are you going to try to actually grow into something different? And nobody that I can tell looks at it from the perspective of we want to grow an athlete for the next 10 years better than EO3 and GGA does. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I think, that's why you can go to a gym and like because I grew up working in gyms and stuff, and it's just, you see the person who's like, they show up every day and they have for the last 15 years, but they don't look a single bit different. It's not all about how you look, but like, they're not lifting more weight. They're not, They don't look any different. And that's kind of the difference, in my opinion, is like, if you're not on a plan, then it's great. I'm so glad that someone's consistent, that what that does for your health is amazing, but it's just juggling, like, do you want to be a little bit more, be a little bit better? Like, is that something that you desire? If so, then the free stuff's probably not going to cut it for most people.
Yeah. And the last thing, and I meant to say this a little earlier, but I forgot. If you don't think the stuff works, I think Jared gave me a big compliment on one of the podcasts for the Spartan race, for how much better I'd gotten. So yes, I did get better. I do want everyone to know, though, the only reason I was able to run with Jared so much is because he like dominated all the obstacles and waited on us for our penalties. Joe did too, to a certain extent, but I think Jared like crushed almost everything he did. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm not on Jared's level, everybody. So just keep that in mind. But the guy knows what he's doing. So,
well, I appreciate that, man. You're right there. The obstacles are fun. But yeah, I got a little cold sometimes. Just saying. All right, Joe, you have anything else?
No.
All right.
I'm good.
Trampis, always a pleasure, man, to have you on the podcast. I appreciate your time, and thanks for being a Garage Gym Athlete, man.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.